Jesus freak here. I used to be a gamer. Still kind of do it, not really my thing anymore. We have a term called minmaxing. This means when you have a character and you basically set up their stats so they're really good at one thing, they're really strong in one thing, and weak in everything else. As someone, now I don't want to use this as a crutch necessarily, but it helps to explain my situation. See, first of all, I'm autistic. That's a neurological condition. Basically means my brain's not wired the same way as most people. Then, because of my upbringing, I have mental trauma. On top of that, I have a deformity in my heart, which is a physical limitation. I also have another physical limitation, which may also be partially neurological. It's called a lazy eye. Now, over the decades, I've basically learned to deal with my limitations. As a result, I focused on my strengths and played down my weaknesses. That actually made my weaknesses even more weak. You know, it actually worsened them. The result is I'll talk to people and, they can tell, they'll a lot of them will say, this brilliant mind. But then I'm off on my own and I can barely survive on my own. Because basically I've min-maxed myself. I've focused so much on book smarts. Which some of it may be practical knowledge. For example, I'm a pretty good cook. But I focused so much on mental acuity that I've pretty much let everything else go to hell. And so the result is, a brain without much of a body to go with it. A literal example of min-maxing. Yeah, I know it leads to trouble. Some things, that ingrained in you. It's hard to change. I personally think it's better in most cases for someone to grow up and be, more well balanced. that, min-maxing like I did is not a good idea. That it's one thing to have a sharp mind, but if it's at the cost of your sanity, and if it's at the cost of being able to handle reality, it might not necessarily be a good thing. Certainly, I live on my own, except for a couple months about 10 years ago. I've lived on my own for 20 years. I can barely handle it. I admit that. I know what my faults are. That comes from a lifetime of experience. But you see me, you're looking at someone, most of you probably think I'm just a kid. What's this Jesus freak talking about? You're just a kid. Kid, you don't have any experience. I'll be 42 in a little over a month. I have more experience than it looks like I got. And maybe it's a side effect that goes with all the negativity. My dad's 83, and as far as I can tell, he's in near perfect shape still. Although my grandparents died at 75, I heard that my great grandparents lived well into their 90s and could have been some centenarians in the family if it hadn't been for hospital malpractice. Who knows? Only God to tell, how long my lifespan is meant to be. If I'm fortunate to beat the odds. Jesus freak out.